Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I wish to have a good Thanksgiving. And after Thanksgiving, it's the first session. And we will talk about the one of the greatest and most important parts of leadership about the participation. And as you know, participation is the art of sharing the duties and responsibility among other people successfully with a higher range of success and higher satisfaction and good outcomes for the companies, for the families, for the community. So, when we are talking about participative management and leading teams, we are talking about a great skill that you can use in all aspects of your life, especially as a BS student of business or management and leadership, future leadership and management and business. Especially in these areas, it can be so helpful for you to use the participation management and leadership teams skills in all aspects of your life. Okay, we have 6 learning objectives here in this course, in this session. At first, understand when and why participation should be used to improve relation leadership effectiveness. At the first sessions, we have talked about and discussed about the leadership effectiveness. And now in this chapter, in this session, we are discussing and talking about the understanding why and when participation should be used to improve that concept, that important concept, so-called leadership effectiveness. Second, explain the role of culture in the use of participative leadership. In all aspects of management, in all aspects of leadership, in all aspects of social life, you should consider culture. Why? In a country such as America, you have uh, a lot of cultures. It is intercultural country. And at first, for example, African American, white American, Asian American, Oriental American, and other parts of America, of the cultures in America, work together. And you should know, as a leader, as a manager, the basic concepts of each culture you are highly facing to them. Okay, subcultures is not so important, but you should know about the highly facing, the cultures that you are facing in your workplace a lot. There's the highly facing cultures that you are facing. You should know about the basic concepts in that culture. Except of that, sometimes maybe you talk and you say and you behave, some actions, some words, some feelings in your workplace that not as a simple employee, but as a major leader, major management, or sometimes mid-level management, it is very harmful for your workplace and for your responsibility and accountability of your job. So you should know the cultural aspects of all types of your duties that you have in your workplace, in your life, especially in your social life. That part of your life that with a lot of social aspects. The major part is about your job, about your workplace. So, explain the role of culture in the use of participative leadership. Is again very important. Specify the elements of effective delegation. Delegation is the art of giving power, responsibility, and accountability. It's very good. Sorry. It's very good that you know about the different aspects of your life. For example, if you want to delegate your job, some parts of your with your employee, you should know about the features and the main features of your job. Why? Because if you don't know that what part of your job you can delegate with your employees, with your mid-level managers, sometimes You don't delegate anything with other persons in your company, in your corporation. And sometimes you delegate everything with everybody. So we should know the elements of effective delegation. Delegation is not important. Effective delegation is very important. And for effectiveness in every aspect of your life, you should know the components and elements shaping that part. After that, based upon that part, you can say, yes, what is effective delegation? Consider the issue of participative management. Consider the issue of participative management. For example, um, what is the simplest definition of management? The simplest definition of management is the art of administration. Consider the issue of participative management. And for this simple definition of management, you should know the elements of participation for your management and giving the duties to other persons, other employee, other co-workers in your team, department, or group, or organization as a overall perspective about your managerial issues. So after that, you should know to explain the principle of self-leadership. Every type of change, every type of administration begins with yourself, not yourself. Begin with yourself. What does it mean? It means that, for example, in hypnosis, we say every type of hypnosis is self hypnosis. In coaching, we say every type of coaching is self coaching. Every type of management is self management. Every type of leadership is self leadership. It's not totally self leadership. It is not overall self management, self coaching, self hypnosis. It is the basic part, the fundamental of every aspect of management, every aspect of leadership, every aspect of coaching, every aspect of, for example, hypnosis. It begins with you. It is important that you consider and emphasize on you, on making yourself, on leading yourself at first, not at best. At first, it is about self coaching, it is about self management, it is about the self. After that, based upon yourself as a fundamental for your other activities during your life, you can consider this self as a basic foundation for every aspect of your life. So, discuss the types of dysfunctions that may occur in teams and how leaders can help resolve them. Dysfunction is a good vocabulary for these parts. Why? Because everything, every relationship, every job, every education, every financial, every aspect of your life, every item of your life has and should have a specific function in your life. Except of that, it is out of function, it is out of order, it doesn't work for you. So you should define the functions of things in your life, functions of your interpersonal relationship, functions of your money, functions of your job, functions of your body, and totally functions of your life for you, not only as a biological person, as a total and whole person. That biology and your body is, yes, the main part of your life, but it is not the only part of your life. You should define even your biological function of your body in your soul, in your mind, in your social aspects, in your sexual aspects, in your family aspects of your life. So, in opposite of function, we use the word dysfunction. Dysfunction indicates that yes, this part of functioning doesn't work for other parts or for your personality as a whole, as a total aspect and total view or perspective of your personality. It is called dysfunction. In the leadership, in the management, you should discuss the types of these dysfunctions that may occur in teams and how leaders can help resolve them. So we should know the dysfunctions. We should the positions, the states, the situations of occurrence of these dysfunctions. And after that, you should know not about the solving it. Solving is about problem. When you are talking about a conflict, You are talking about dysfunction. It is not about solving. It is about resolving. Resolving is again something solving. Why? Because you have a problem, but when you have a repeatable problem, it will become a conflictual style in your life. So it is not about the solving that problem. It is the resolving those conflicts, those dysfunctions. It is a total uh, coverage of your life. These six learning objectives are the basic objectives that we should consider in our work, in our um, class, in our session, to learn and use in everyday life. It is highly recommended for you and to you that you use your knowledge, leadership knowledge, and management knowledge in your daily life. Why? Because the real daily life is the best atmosphere, is the best area, is the most possible area that you can practice your skills. Why? Because your skills about the management yourself and management other people in every aspect of your life. It is very cheap to use it only as a leader. How can you lead other people when you cannot lead yourself? And how can lead only your organization when you cannot lead your, for example, family uh, relationship or family life, sexual life, social life, educational life, occupational life? You are only one person, and these different and sometimes oppositional aspects are in you and within you, and you should harmonize and organize all aspects of your mind, all aspects of your body, all aspects of social life and family life and occupational, educational, and every aspect, spiritual, even a spiritual aspect of your life together in one person. Except of that, you will be breakdown. You're something we call it NBD, nervous breakdown. Also it is not a real position, I know, but it is a symbolic noun, symbolic title for somebody is which breakdown in it himself or herself. Because of that, it is highly recommended to you and for you that use your knowledge, your leadership knowledge, your management knowledge in your daily life. Every place, every situation, every relationship, every intra relationship, and every interrelationship, every intrapersonal issues or every interpersonal issues can be and should be a position of practicing the managerial science, practicing the leadership science. Okay. We have two continuum in organizational structure and in management control. Two continuum. We did two extreme points. Look at it, left and side for both of them. At one extreme on the organizational structure, you see traditional organization, an organization with the very, very fundamental and radical traditional structure, very formal. It's not a modern, old-fashioned structure for the organization. At the other extreme, at the other final stage, you see team-based organization. I love it. The power is in the team. The power is not in private activity. Every smart man or woman know it. Every smart woman. For a long time, the history of team shaping, the history of organizing team for achievement, a final great goal. The history is about, I think, the history of human, history of revolutions, history of prophecies, history of religion, history of tribe. The basic part of a team is a tribe. Also, yes, some of the modern shapes of teams is organization. But when we are talking about organizational structure, in contrast between the teams and the organizations, we are talking about the team-based organizations and traditional organization. When you are talking team-based organization, about the organization, that different departments work inside and have an intra and inter team. Different teams in our organization. We have different teams. Each of them work for ourselves and with their own productivity, with their own output. And after that, these teams are working together. It is team-based organization, not employee-based organization, not co-worker. The unit of activity in a team-based organization is a team. The unit of activity in productivity and activity in a traditional organization is one person, is employee. So it is about the unit of productivity and unit of activity and unit of report. In a team-based organization, you will have some report from the teams and from the team leader as a representative of the team. He or she would answer to the other teams, what is our productivity rate, what is our effectiveness rate, and what is our productions or services and other parts that the team should do. Okay. In the other continuum, we see management control, high management control at one extreme, and total delegation. Total delegation is the extreme lower and lowest managerial control. Total delegation. We delegate every aspect of work with other co-workers and other employees. So you see that in traditional organization, we see high management control, no employee participation at all. Don't forget, we are talking about the management. We are talking not about the production, not about the effectiveness of a company or organization. We are talking about the management style. So in traditional organization, the management style is about not giving any delegation to other people. It is something like to be a chef, to be a boss. Not very, in modern time, we don't call it management, we call it a boss. No delegation, no giving any responsibility to, or duty to other employee, other co-workers. But at the other side, at the extreme oppositional side, extreme oppositional point, we have full and total delegation, high employee participation. A lot of companies stay between these two extremes. As you see, that occasional use of teams and employee participation at the middle part. In some situations, in some chances, in some states, yes, we can use some degree of participation, and in some states, we cannot use it. So the real part, the real visible part, the real possible part is something between these two states, two extreme state. Traditional organization with never giving any delegation to other people. And on the other side, we can see team-based organization with giving a lot of delegation to a lot of people, a lot of employees. I love to use the word coworker when it is team-based, when it is a lot of delegation. Why? They are not our employee at this extreme state. They are not our employee. They are our co-worker. They are work together. They are delegated, and a lot of duties are on the shoulders of other people in our organization. So they are not an employee. When somebody is your employee, you should control and you should order the items, the checklist of items that you want they do in your organization. They are your employee. But when they are delegated a lot of duties in your company, your organization, they are your co-worker. It is not a part of ordering everything and have a very careful and very detailed checklist about everything, because delegation is it is about the art of creativity and art of personal responsibility and personal accountability for the job you are dedicated. Okay? Because of that, I love and I prefer to use the word coworkers for the organization with the team-based or the team-based arrangement, team-based management, and use the word employee for the traditional organization that there is a very formal and now leader manager. Also, they are managers, not leader, honestly. When you have in a traditional organization, you cannot be a good leader because leadership is about the future, and when you want to go to the future, you should use the force of other people, force of their mind, rationality, intellectuality, creativity, and other forces of other people. But when it is traditional organization, yes, they are our employee. And the average organization are in the middle of these parts, one part traditional, one part team-based, one part high management, one part total delegation. Criteria for use of participation. One, when the task is complex and equality is important. Two, when follower commitment is needed. Three, when there's time. Four, when the leader and follower are ready. And five, when the leader and followers can easily interact. Okay. The criteria one. There is a tradition in psychotherapy for mental diagnosis, mental internal diagnosis, that we say at least you have 50% of the symptoms of the criteria for have a mental illness diagnosis. For example, for major depression disorder, MDD, we have 9 symptoms. If you have at least 5 out of 9 for 2 weeks, your diagnosis is major depression disorder. So 50%, at least 50% is very important in, for example, psychotherapy. We can use it in organization, for example, for criteria for use of participations. We can use it, for example, when there is 5 criteria, at least 3 out of 5, there is 3 out of 5 criteria for say, yes, we can use participations or delegation. When the task is complex and equality is important, equality is important. Why? If the task is very simple, you can do it on yourself, on your team, on your person. Only all you cannot do it yourself, but you can say one of your employee, one of them only do this. It's his or her duty, his or her organizational responsibility. He or she should do it. It's about the money, it's about the payment, it's the salary. But when a task is multidimensional, a lot of dimensions, a lot of aspects, and a lot of interconnection between the aspects, between the elements, between the dimensions, it is complex, it is complicated, it is not very simple. You should consider a lot of them in your job, in your work. And also quality is very important. At first it is complicated, it is complex. And after that, quality is very important. Why? Because everybody who is dedicated to one part or one aspect or one side or one dimension of the job, of the task, he or she is the responsibility for quality control of that side or that part or that dimension of the job. So when the task is complex and quality is important, it is the one time for participation. Second, the follower commitment is needed. When we are using the word follower, we are using the situation of leadership. We have talked about it in the previous sessions. Membership is for tribe, community. Co-worker is for management, and follower is for leader. Talk about it. when follower commitment is needed. Sometimes you should create a sense of importance in your team members, the sense of importance and sense of belongingness in your family members, in your community members, in your employees, in your coworkers. This is very important. Why? If they don't have a good and a high level of sense of importance, they don't have any good sense of belongingness. So they don't have a good sense of commitment. Don't forget, commitment is a shape of sense. It is not a rational factor. Yes, your rationality, your thinking style, your thought will support your commitment style. But finally, you experience your commitment as a sense, as a feeling of commitment, sense of commitment. Because of that, you should combine some other senses with this sense of commitment. For example, sense of importance. Why you are committed to these parts? Because I have a sense of importance in doing something and in completing something. It is important for me, and also I am important in doing that task. It is very important to creating the sense of importance in other people, to create commitment, self-commitment, sense of commitment in them. So when follower commitment is needed, for example, you want to create a new position, new product in your company, which load a lot of heavy new duty on the shoulders of your previous employees. And naturally, they will resist. They will not accept. Why? Because out of the items that they have trained for, it is a new product, new training, and new education, and new trial and error, and a lot of other new things that it is not visible for us at the first step. Trial, error, trial, error, trial, error, trial, not error, successful. Okay? For going through these steps, you need some sense of commitment in your followers until the time we reach to the end of to the ending position, to the ending conclusion, to the ending outcome you want to achieve. And after that, we will be successful. During these long and sometimes short road to the success, you need the commitment of your followers as a leader. Because of that, you create a sense of participation and you delegate some parts, some aspects of the job, some aspects of the task, some aspects of the goal with them to create a sense of to be a family. Together, we are stronger. Okay? After that, they have an inner sense of commitment and follow you and your goals, not as you as a follower, as a team member, as someone who is a contributor. So he or she is a contributor, a good sense of contribution, a good sense of importance in achievement of success in an organization. Because of that, participation is very important in creating sense of commitment in our employees, in our co-workers, and totally in our followers. When there is time. At first, you should know the first skill every human being should know, especially every management or leader should know, is time management skill. Every human being. Why? The only personal source you have is your lifetime. The only source you have only. You cannot share it with other people. From birth to death, lifetime. So the first managerial skill you should know is it about your lifetime. It is called time management skills at first. Secondly, in an organization, in a corporation, in a leadership style, you should know a lot of things about this time management. It is about participation. When you want to create participation, sense of commitment, and dedication in either other people, you should have enough time to install the new skills for these type of participations or these types of dedications, other things that you want to contribute to other people. If you are not in a good duration of time, if it is a very early deadline, you cannot create new participation. Why? Because participation needs new training, new um, culturalization, a new behavior, creating a new behavioral and mental and rational culture in your organization. So time is very important. If you are a manager, if you are a leader, or if you want to be a manager or leader with a high degree of participation and dedication, so you should consider the item of time in your all plannings. Why? Because education and training as a participative manager, as a participative leader, is the basic and most important element of your planning. If you want to be it, if you want to be a participative manager or participative leader. If no, it is itemic in the items, in the task you think or you predict that yes, we will need some aspects of participation, some degree of delegation. In that items, you should consider the time for training and for preparing people to accept the participation and delegation. But if you are totally love participation, your task and jobs, your duties with other people, especially expert people like your coworkers or employees, at first you should consider time and time duration for these preparation for new participation and delegation. Except of that, it is not mature, it is immature participation, and immature participation is very, very high risk factor in your job. It can destroy and harm everything in the task because it is not maturated, it is immature, they are not ready for accepting the participation, and they are not skillful about the skills that they should know for participating the job, for delegation of the job, and it can harm every aspect of your job or task. When the leader and followers are ready, we talk about it. With these introductions, the leader and follower will be ready for participation. And finally, when the leader and followers can easily interact. Participation is like marriage. Why? Like family, like an intimate community, like a religion. Why? Without any regarding to the concept and the content of these items that I said, one of the shared item, one of the shared elements in these items are and is interaction, an easy interaction, an intimate interaction. So for family, for community, for religion, for social leadership, for sport team making and other parts, okay, it is a little easier to have some good and easy interaction. But in organization, you should create it formally and traditionally between the different levels of management and simple and sometimes expert co-workers in different levels of organization. Formally and traditionally, we cannot consider, we cannot expect easy interaction. You should create it. After creation, the easy interaction between the managers and followers, between the members and boss, between the leaders and followers, manager and co-workers. After that, we can a good criteria, we can good an atmosphere for creating participation and contribution, and also some part of dedication. So these are the basic 5 factors for use of participation. As I said, in psychotherapy, we can use 50 out of 100%. But honestly, you should have all items here, all criteria. All criteria should be met for management. Even absence of one of them not destroy but can harm the effectiveness of participation in your organization. And why participation? We talk about it a lot. At first, development of followers. Good teachers are the teachers that their students are better than themselves. Good teachers are the teachers that their students will be better than themselves, will be better than the teachers. Why? Because it's me, your teacher. I educate you, I train you, I teach you everything I know, I experience, an experienced man as a PhD, as a real person in the real world. Okay, you receive my knowledge, you receive my experiential outcomes in life and other parts, and add it to your previous knowledge and experience. After that, you should be something more than me. It is development. It's the process of development. Each baby, each children, successful children, well-trained children, is the children that in their adulthood time, they are better than their parents. It is the development process. So one of the benefits of participations that your simple workers, after sometimes, they are not the same simple workers. They are expertise in some aspects of the job that have been participated to them, that have been dedicated to them. The simple workers are not the simple workers. Finally, they are not the workers, they are the expert employees. Is that first? It has some cost, yes. Risk study and risk ability is one of the greatest items you should consider in your participating process with your employees, or as I want to say, with your coworkers. But after ending this participation process, after ending this delegation process, you have some more powerful and more expert people around yourself, that they are called expert people, expert co-workers, developed persons, developed expert people, developed co-workers. So the major and the first, and I think the best benefits of participation is engaging your followers, engaging your employees, engaging your family member, engaging your social members with the developmental process. Second, better decision on complex tasks. I said one of the things that you as a use as a criteria for use, but the first one is when the task is complex. Okay. After participation, during the participation process, you use something like brainstorming, and after the brainstorming, it is expected to have better decisions on the task, especially on the complex task. Everybody has his or her own perspective, also professional perspective, I know, but everybody has his or her attitude and professional perspective on a complex task, and it will help you a lot. Increasing follower motivation and commitment. We talk about the commitment, we are now talking about the motivation. What is motivation? Motivation, sense of inner sense that direct you and create force in you to go forward, to develop, to advance your life. Increasing follower motivation and commitment. And finally, opportunity to empower followers. We have talked and we will talk a lot about the empowerment of people around us. Why? More independent people are, more powerful people are, more effective people are, productive people are. So if you want to create an effective and productive community, productive and effective organization or society, maybe, you should train some independent people with a high rate of risk, yes, why not? If you want to have you want to take any risk, okay, you cannot go forward, you cannot advance, you cannot progress your life, anything. Riskability and risk study is the major and basic things in a developing life, not the developed life, not the stable life sometimes. Because of that, when participation, when contribution, when delegation we use in our organization, we see a lot of commitment. But before commitment, we see a lot of passion to do the things, to do the hard things in your organizations. It's very good. It's very effective. And after that, opportunity to empower followers, and um, they will be some more powerful people in contrast with their previous thinking style, previous lifestyles. So again, we have role of culture. We have two types of culture for delegation. At one part, we have individualistic cultures like America. And at the other side, we have collectivistic cultures like Japan or Far East Oriental countries. And other countries are between these. For example, in socialistic governments, socialistic countries like North Europe, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Norway, and some semi socialistic, semi capitalistic like Canada, and sometimes in full capitalistic countries like America. We have different types of working together for a better future. The main goal is working together for better future. But what is the meaning of better future? Better future of your society, better future of your family, better future of your city, better future of your country, or better future of your world. What is the meaning of better future? It is related to your culture. If you think like Japanese people, that the importance and the goal of parenting is not to be independent from your parent and go for your own life. It is the goal of parenting in socialization in Japan. When we can call someone that he or she has been trained so good as a child, when he or she is socializing with the other people, with the other family members, with the other social members and other parts of social life. So socialization is the final goal of the parenting, for example, in Japan. But in America, the final goal of parenting is to create and to grow an independent person to work on herself or himself and has his or her own skills and work together with other people for a private life. Very, very personal private life. I love to use individual, individed, divided and individed. Divided is individual, cannot divide to another part of what when someone is individual. So you see collectivistic countries, cultures, and individualistic culture, and sometimes semi cultures, half part is collectivistic, some part is socialistic, capitalistic, and individualistic. Collectivistic cultures emphasizes team processes. The process is more important than outcome. Why? We have different figures of leaders in the world. Different figures of leaders in the world. For example, one figure is about the dominant leaders. Other one influencing leaders. Other one supporting leaders. Other one coordinating or coordinators leaders with different focal point, with different final expected outcome. For example, a dominant leader is a result oriented person. Only results are important for him or her. But influencing people are very concentrated on the people. They are people oriented. And sometimes they are working for team oriented, not only the results. Interaction between the team members and effective interaction, that doesn't mean that results is not important for influencing leaders. The main focus, the main priority is about team. And after that, for example, supporting is maintaining the present state is very important for supporting leaders. And coordinating leaders, the main focal point is processing and process oriented. So you can find in different books, in different theories, a lot of theories about the different types of leaders, different types of personality even, not only for leaders, not only for managers, but personality. It is typology. Typology is the knowing about the types of personality. For example, DISC or MBTI or NEO or for example, I see that we have some types of personality types in Jung, Carl Gustav Jung theories, and other psychologists and industrial psychologists, and sometimes philosophers have talked about the different types of personality. So you can see here that culture has a main impact on the goal of the delegation and goal of participation. In collectivistic cultures, we emphasize team processes. In high power distances, reduce team empowerment. It's a team. It's not a tribe. Yes, in a team, we know who is team leader. Yes, who is team maker. Sometimes team maker is a different one from team leader. Someone has organized and creating and team up, and after that, say some other one, they come and as a team member lead the team. Team leader is different from team maker. Sometimes they are the same. Usually they are the same. Someone who has made his or her team, after that will organize and lead his or her team. But sometimes different, like management. Owner is not the manager. Owner, investor is not the owner, and other parts. Power distance is very important. Power distance is the line, is the distance that define your power position in your organization, in your family, in your society. Your power ranking, your power rate in your social organizational aspects of life. So high power distance, it means that there is a high distance between the different members, especially between the ordinary members and, for example, team leader. High distance. It is not a team. It's a cell, a department with the out of the department leader. It is high distance. The sense of belongingness does not include the high power distance. When you think that something is belong to you, you can find a low distance. And also it is about the power ranking. When you think that, yes, I am a member of this power situation, you can find a very short power distance. Human orientation supports use of teams. It's very important. In new generation of team leaders, in new generation of team members, we can find some types of humanistic approach, which is based on philosophy and psychology and religion also, humanistic approach to team members. Why? When you see your team members as human beings, with the human errors, with the human traits, with the different human traits, but as a whole, as a total being, you see him or her as a human, can have some good effect on their thinking style. It is not always so friendly, but so effectively, not on the organizational aspect of a human being, more than this, on the organizational aspect of his or her mind as a human. So you work on your employee, on your coworkers, on your team members, not as a team member, not only for your team uh, purposes, for developing, for shaping, for processing, and for progressing your team members as human beings. Something more than only having a good target as team productivity and increasing your team productivity. It is not only about the team productivity, it is about the team member productivity, increasing team member productivity. It is very clear, very uh, natural that when everybody in a team is increasing his or her productivity of mind, productivity of behavior, efficiency, and other positive aspects of human being, the total energy, the total productivity, the total efficiency of team is very, very, very higher than you expected. Imagine when you concentrate only on the team productivity, yes, on the little parts of human beings, so-called your team members you can use. When you are working on the increasing and empowering your team members' abilities, your team members' humanistic aspects, oh, something more than the team productivity only. And horizontal, the vertical dimension also plays a role. Yes, we talk about the delegation, we talk about the participation, we talk about the short power distance, not high power distance, low power distance, and short power distance, not so long power distance. Yes. But finally, someone is leader. Finally, someone should be responsible for the outcomes, should have a good or bad report about the productivity of the team. He or she is accountable for the team outcome, for the team results. He or she is the responsible, is the accountable. He or she is the team leader. So in this part, we have horizontal, vertical dimension also plays a role. Why? Sometimes it is not about the training. In a short period of time, we don't have any good enough time for training other people. So we should order what to do, what not to do. It is the horizontal, vertical dimension. Do it because I say so. Why? Because I am the leader and I am the accountable, I am the responsible. To the shareholders, to the stockholders, to other people outside of the team, and they want to know about the team productivity. Well, it is sometimes, it's not always. It is not the general routine. It is not the general frame and format for leading a team as a participative team. Yes, as a traditional team, traditional is based on the horizontal, vertical ordering. But as a participative team, it is not usual, but sometimes it has a good role, an important role, an effective role. Yes. Okay. Before going to the benefits of delegation, we can have a 15 minutes of rest, and after that, come back to session again. Okay, welcome again. We'll talk about the benefits of delegation. What are the benefits of delegation in a company or organization, sometimes communities, sometimes societies, and even sometimes a family? Frees leaders time for new tasks and strategy activities. Such a leader you are, when you cannot create new benefits and new idea for your company, for your organization. The duty of leadership is creativity and creating the new values and new procedural values, values with some methodology to do it and to achieve the new goals and new ideas. This is the duty of a good and effective leadership. Delegation, yes. Other people, other members spend their time for doing the present duties, the present tasks of the company. And you, as a leader, can spend your time for searching and thinking and talking and organizing new ideas, new leadership goals, and new targets for your company and also for your community and sometimes your world. So at first, the benefit of delegation is frees leaders time for new tasks and strategic activities. The strategic activities is about the activities for reaching from the missions to the visions. In this part, the middle part, the reaching process, so-called strategy activity or strategy, provides employees with opportunities to learn and develop. It is very important, fantastic, beautiful, effective, developing. Why? When you, as an employee, want to be a dedicated person in your company, to have some good participation in the organization, in the management, and in the leadership, you should have learned and developed yourself at first. Participation is a good opportunity for having some aspect of learning and development. It is the necessary part of the participation, learning and developing new skills, and allows employees to be involved in task, involvement, sense of commitment, uh, sense of belongingness. Involvement is a practical part of learning. Involvement is a practical part of uh, creativity and development in one person. It is a chance for experiencing what we have learned theoretically in the books or in the workshops, in the courses. And after that, during the process of delegation, it's a good chance, a good opportunity for you to practice and to experience what you have learned before in your books and your courses. So allows employees to be involved in tasks, allows observation and evaluation of the employees in new tasks. It is another part. Yes, learning, experiences, observation. Learning, experiences, observation about the outcomes, evaluation, observation, evaluation. Delegation is a shared atmosphere between the leaders and employees, between the leaders and co-workers, between the leaders and followers. The shared atmosphere, it is the delegation atmosphere, is the part of the job, part of the life that we are involved together to achievement a shared goal, a shared meaningful goal, or a shared meaning even. Okay? So because of that, in this process of involvement together and with the task, multi-dimensional task of a job, we can work together and observe each other. Especially as a leader, you have a good opportunity to observe and evaluate the learning effects and the course effects and the delegation effects and the participation effects of the elements you have participated to other members of your team, to other members of your organization, employees, co-workers, or team members, and increase employee motivation and satisfaction, the sense of belongingness, the commitment, the good feeling that doing something not only for earning money, not only for earning money. Earning money should be the last, not sometimes the least, but the last outcome of your job. After ending your job, Yes, earning money. It's good. But during the process of job, during the process of task, you should have a good sense of commitment and involvement with your job. It is personal development. It is your time life to invest on your life, on your job as a life process, as a life task. So it is not you that doing something for earning money and after spending money and always doing something and earning money and spending money. After that, you will be a money slavery. No, the job process during the process of something so-called delegation or for example participation is creating a sometimes of involvement with the job, with the task. You are doing this task, you are involving this task, you are evaluating and you are being evaluated during the task. It's a sense of belongingness and the sense of presence in the time here and now. Yes, one of the financial outcomes is earning money, but something more that you can earn before earning money. You can earn some new information, new skills, some personality increasement and in personality improvement. You have like self-confidence, like self-efficacy, team working, belonging to the team and other parts that as a human being you need to experience during your job, during your organizational task, during your complicated organizational task. After ending the job, yes, as a not as a reward, as a right, you will earn some money also and increase employee motivation and satisfaction. Guidelines for good delegations. After talking about the basic participants, basic uh, components, basic elements of participation, and basic criteria for using or having, and the criteria for a good participation and other things, we are now talking about the guidelines for good delegation. At first, delegate pleasant and unpleasant tasks. Also, it is like parenting. If you always say yes to your child, if the conditions of your child is always good and pleasant, he or she doesn't have any good power to challenge with the undesirable situation in life, which are not less. But major part of our task and major part of our duties in life are not pleasant. They are unpleasant, but necessary, but efficient, but good, but profitable. Always they are unpleasant, even unpleasant. Okay? Because of that, we are talking about the delicate, pleasant, and unpleasant task and clarify goals and expectations. It is very important. Not about the small tasks, clarification about the goals. What is the goal of what you are doing? And what is our expectation of you to do and ending and implementing these tasks? Okay? Very clear, very specific, very clear, very transparent. In new situations, most people are experiencing a lot of confusion, a lot of ambiguity, a lot of uncertainty, and confusion and uncertainty and ambiguity can create a lot of anxiety in them. Why? Because they don't know where they are going, and sometimes they don't know what they should do to achieve their goals, to achieve their organizational goals or personal goals. So basically, in the nature, in the essence of uncertainty and not to be clear on ambiguity, in the essence and the nature of uncertainty and ambiguity, we can see a lot of anxiety. Because of that, you should work with your employee, with your coworkers for new delegation, for new participation, for new tasks, or sometimes it is not new, but it is complicated and complex. You should clarify what you want them, what are your expectations, and what they should do. Why? Because these clarification create a very clear, very transparent goals, very transparent, not process, but expectations. After that, with these transparent goals, with these clear expectations, they can do something on their own duty, on their own creativity, on their own procedures for achievement the goals of organizations. So the state of creativity, when the goal of creativity is very clear, the state of creativity is very good. It can ending to empowering the employees and also the organization. But when the goals are not clear, creativity has a chaotic situation in your organization and create a chaotic position in your organization, and also inner your employees and also inner you as a manager, as a leader. So clarification about the goals and about the expectation is very important item. And delegate authority along with responsibility. Yes, it is so obvious that when you want me to do something, you should give me authority and responsibility. Why? When I don't have any power to do anything, how can I answer you? How can I respond to you? How can I be responsible to you, your other people, about my job, about my outcomes, about my financial outcomes, social outcomes, spiritual outcomes, organizational outcomes, every type of outcome you expect me. For doing the things, I should have authority and responsibility. If I am responsible, I should have authority. Without authority, without power, without any type of choosing, how can I be responsible? I cannot be responsible. I am responsible about what I have authority on it, to have a good choice. I think about the good choice, effective choice, productive choice, futuristic choice. With authority, yes, I can be responsible and provide support. Yes, it's like a new like a child that want to learn a new skill, like for example, bicycle. When a child wanted to ride a bicycle, what do you do? First, support, and after that, he will be skillful, and after that, he or she will be master learning. And the master learning, you don't need, he or she doesn't need any support. But at first time, you should provide support to him or her. Why? Because the new learner, dedication and participation is learning new skills. It is about a new, I am a new learner in the atmosphere. I need support. Support about how to think, how to use my authority, how to access and gathering information about the things I want to do, how to do after gathering information, and how to evaluate and re-evaluate my outcomes of the process. I need support for all these stages from the zero to be a hero in my job, in my organizational or team goals. Okay. Monitor and provide feedback. Monitor and provide feedback is something except of provide support. Support is in implementation, and sometimes out of the organization, we will support you with to accept and to approve your authority for your responsibility situation. But as a leader, as a manager, as a wise man, as a skilled man or woman in their work, as a teacher, as an instructor, okay, as a guide, as a guru, I should have some good feedback about the things you have done until now, up to now. For feedback after that, if it is yes, okay, go ahead. If it is not good, it is not a good feedback, okay, go back and reform and sometimes deform and again until going to the situation of yes, you can go to the next stage. So monitor and provide feedback. Why monitor? The monitoring is the tools, the greatest tools for giving, for gathering some information, for giving you some effective feedback, and delegate to different followers. Why? At first, it is not about the competition between the followers to do something that they are the same, they are similar. But a, a leader, a lower level of competition, a lower level of thinking that yes, I can be the best at my job. I can be the best. I can be the best, and I should be the best in my job, in my duty, in my responsibility, in my dedicated task. Why? Because if I am not the best in my job, somebody else, by his or her right, it's good to come and sit instead of me, and I will lose my situation. It's the one part for giving delegation with different people. Other parts is that at the first step, I don't know what are the capacities, what are the uh, intellectual capacity of my followers the best to do the best in a specific job. So I want to monitor and evaluate different followers to find and choose the best candidate for the job. So delegate to different followers. It's a good delegation. And what are the excuses for not delegating? You can see these sentences. You can hear these sentences, not only from your leaders, from your managers, from your parents, from your societies. You can also hear these from yourself. A lot of times you talk in such a way with yourself. At first, my followers are not ready. When they will be ready? Never. If you don't have any good chance, any appropriate chance to your followers to do something which is good for them, which is good for your organization, which is a good chance for learning and improving their skills, they will never be ready for for doing something new. So you are not a team member, the team-based manager, there's an organizational manager, traditional organizational manager. You are a boss. You don't for your procedure, your methodology doesn't work for the new, for example, 21st century procedures. It's a very, very highly changing atmosphere. Sorry. Yes, it's good. Two, they don't have the right skills. Yes. Yes, I know they don't have the right skills. What's the outcome of delegation? The outcome of delegation is a skill training. The basic part of delegation is uh, skill training. Yes, they don't have any good and right skill just now. At first, you can have some prepared planning for preparation of your employees, of your coworkers at first. Secondly, yes, it's a new job, a new task. We can train people. One of the greatest outcomes of delegation is skill training, skill new training. Yes, why not? That's an excuse. Yeah. Managers, authoritarian manager, the manager don't want to share anything with other people, that honestly they are not manager, they are not leaders, they are the bosses only. Use these excuses a lot, that they don't have the right skills. It's an excuse. I am uncomfortable delegating my task because you are authoritarian. You are authoritarian manager. Because of that, you cannot feel comfort for delegating your task with other people, especially with your employees or co-workers, because you are authoritarian. And I can do the job quicker myself. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes, it's true. But we are talking about a future oriented organization, and we should have new jobs and we should have new tasks
And because of should have, it is necessary for survival in our competitive atmosphere of companies, of organization, competitive business atmosphere. You have to have new jobs, new skills, new productions, and new services and other parts. Because of that, the main part of an organization, progressive and developing organization, is not about one person. Are you joking about the developing countries, developing organization, developing society that based on one person? We are talking about the societies, organizations, communities, countries. We are talking about the systems. So share meaning and interactions for achieving a single predefined and shared goal or meaning. Because of that, authoritarian manager says, yes, I can do it quicker. It's one time. Secondly, your job and your duty as a manager, as leader, is not about doing. It is about being. It is about creating. It is about the future. Not only this part, not only maintaining. If you do everything yourself in your company, you are a manager. You are an employee. You are a simple worker. Why? Because thank you. You do everything good, well, efficiently in your company. So why you have other people in your company? It is the company, it is a corporation, it is the cooperation, it is an organization or not. It's a store, it's a shopping center. No, it's not a business. It's something like self-employment, and only some other people are helping you to do your self-employment. It is not a duty of management, especially it is not a duty of leadership. Leadership, it is about predicting the future, creating the future with the skills, with the knowledge, with the skill training, and with harmonization and leading and managing together all people, all the employees for one shared meaning in the future. It's strategic thinking. My followers are too busy. It's not important for you. It's not related to you. It's none of your business. Your followers are too busy. You participate, you delegate the job and task with them. And after that, they will have find some new time, some free time for new skills. It's a total law in your life. We can find time for the things which are prior to us, which are important to us, which are significant, meaningful to us. Everybody knows it. That when you don't have enough time for something because of your excuses. And I'm responsible for my followers' mistake. No, no, sorry. No. You are monitoring, you are thinking, you are designing, yes. But you are not over responsible for the follower's mistake. Follower's mistake, that part which is related to the not training good, not skill training, not having giving them enough knowledge and enough resources for doing, and because of that they will have some uh, mistakes, yes. But ordinary, it is not about the uh, over responsibility of you as a manager. So what's the problem with the having problem? It's trial and error. It's a course of training. It's a course of master training, master skill training. What's your problem with having the problem? The greatest mistake in a company, in a human being, in a society, in a family, the greatest mistake is the fear of mistake. And sometimes try not to have mistake. Are you kidding? What type of human being you are, what type of organization, developing organization, fear of that you have a fear of mistakes. Yes, we prevent and predict and prevent the mistakes. Yes, but the nature of development, the nature of growth is about have something mistake, monitoring them, and preventing from for recurrency of the mistake. not happening again, and after that go to the next step. The history of industrial development, at least not the history of human development, the history of, at least the history of industrial development shows that we have been facing a lot of mistakes. Those mistakes shows us that what should we cannot do, we should not and cannot do. Those mistakes, the good things, thank you. But the final price, the good things, the appropriate things, no, the final price of development is tolerating and payment, social payment, financial payment, private payment, personal payment sometimes for our mistake. Because I love the phrase of mistake club. I call the life is a mistake club. And my own manager may think I am not working hard enough. Delegation is an organizational culture. Delegation is an organizational value. Delegation is an organizational standard. Why? Because in the modern time, industrial age, in the modern time, 21st century especially, with these late mistakes, late problems and crises like COVID-19, in the modern time, delegation is an organizational culture. The base of the organizations are going to be a delegating organizations, a participating management, participating organization. So if the total organization is good for delegation, so it's a culture. Your own managers, as a you are a manager and you have some own manager. Your own manager also know about the importance of delegations. Your own managers also know about the importance of delegations. And if they don't know anything about the importance of delegations, your organization is going to a dead position. It is interrupting in a modern society, in a new modern age of industrialization in 21st century. You are destroying everything, and everything is being destroyed in your company. Delegation is an organizational culture. Characteristic of teams for delegation. Members are fully committed to common goals they develop. The key words are commitment and comment. Commitment and common goals. Members are fully committed to common goals they develop. It is very important that when you are working in a team, when you are a team member, it's like a sport teams. The final goal is not the members. The final goal is to winning. The final goal is the outcome of team outcomes, team results, not personal results. But every single person has his or her own major role in playing his or her roles in the accessing the team goals and team outcomes. Members are mutually accountable to one another, mutually, one to one, accountable to one another. It is not about the me, it is not about you, it is about us. Why? Because we are the team members. We are the team members. Members trust one another, trust each other. Why? Because everybody knows that at his or her best skillful level of skills training, he or she trusts other people to achieve the goals, to achieve the team goals. So trust, commitment, common goals, and accountability are the major words we can use. Collaborative culture, we talked about it before, that in different parts, for example, sometimes you have avoidance in conflict organization, in conflict situations. You have five situations. One, you only not only consider your issues, you don't consider other people concern. It's avoidance. You want to go out of the conflict. When you only consider your own concerns and not consider concerns of other people, it is competition. When you only consider other people's concerns and you don't consider your own concerns, it is about other people, it is about accommodation. When you consider both sides at the highest rate, your concern and other people concern, you consider both sides at the highest rate, it is collaboration. When you consider both sides in a mid-level range, it is about compromise. So we have five situations, for example, in a conflictual situation. So collaboration culture, collaborative culture, is the culture that says you should consider your concerns and other people's concerns at the highest level. Your winning is meant the team winning, and team winning is meant your winning. One for all for one. It is collaborative culture. Collaborative culture is meant you consider other people concerns at the same degree and the highest same degree of your concern. You can, for example, consider other people concern at the lowest level of degree, like your concern. It is not collaboration; it is avoidance. You don't want any concern, not for yourself, not for other people. You want to go out of the organization. It is not a team membership. There's only one person who is depressed and want to destroy anything for himself or herself and other people in team. So we are talking about the highest consideration of concerns of yourself and other people. It's called collaboration. We need a collaborative culture. If you have and your other team members, teammates are considering collaboration as a good concept for managing the team, yes, it's good. Shared leadership based on facilitation. Again, it is very important to consider that shared leadership based on facilitation. Leadership is here a tools for facilitating the interrelationship and interconnection between the team members. And based on that type of leadership, you as a team member can consider something for your team, not only for yourself, for your team outcomes, for your team results. Okay? So leadership here is meant facilitation. Sometimes leadership in a good arranged and well structured, well defined team. Sometimes leadership is only about facilitation and facilitating the interrelationship between the different team members in a well defined and well structured team. And finally, synergy. What is synergy? Synergy is the added value of energy. What does it mean? It means that when you work together, you are stronger. The energy of your own private, personal, single energy added with other people, the final addition is something more than the addition of every single person. For example, 2 plus 2 is 4. In synergy, for example, 2 plus 2 is 2.1. That one is the synergic effect. Working together, group dynamic, synergic effect, giving and taking something more than regular procedures. You take as a one person is a team activity. You take something more than you give to the group. Why? Because it is the synergic effect of team. And self-managed team, we are talking about the teams that they are self-managed. We talk about the role of leadership in a good team and collaborative team and participated team and participated organizations. Delegation and participation is the mean. It doesn't mean that you don't need any leadership, but leadership after organizing and creating and structuring, well structuring a good participative team. After that, all the leadership is only has a role of monitoring and giving some feedback and maybe facilitating with these tools. For example, monitoring and giving feedback and guiding. It is not about the leadership. At first, the leadership is very, very important. The role of leadership is very important for well structuring and well making a team. After that, it is a feedback effect. It is a feedback and giving some new information from our previous and back steps. Because of that, it's called feedback. You're feeding information from your back steps you have taken until this step, yet you are now in that. Because of that, we say at the best part, a participative team or an delegated team will be a self-managed team. Power to manage their own work. You see the word own. Power to manage their own work. Members with different expertise and experiences. Why? Because we have self-managed team, so we should have some people from other approaches, from other expertization, from other experience as team members, not as our counselor, not as our leader, not as our manager, not as our coach. They are team members. They are involving and engaging with the team, and no outside manager and power to implement team decisions. It is very important. One of the greatest criteria to diagnose that team is self-managed team or not. It is independency to the necessity of having an outside leader or manager. Necessity. Yes, sometimes we have some managers or leaders, not bad, but it is not necessary. It is not mandatory to have such a, for example, team leader for from outside of the team, and coordination with other teams. It is self-management team. You can consider a self-managed team as a living being, as a dependent living being. Yes, I know. For example, I am a dependent living being. I have some organs. I have some body parts, hands, foot, face, heart, lung, and other parts. All together is called me. So finally, I am an independent living being. I have several components, several cells, several organs, I know. But together, they organize one single independent living being. It is called team. Different people from different expertise, from different with different experience, and no external and outside of the team management, mandatory management, and other parts, and coordination with other teams. These single independent living being have some coordination with other single independent living being, so-called teams. Teams to teams. Our unit of living here is not team members. Our unit of living is called team. Because of that, it is called self-management, self-managed teams. There is a phrase in biology. It is called homeostasis or equilibrium. Equilibrium is the balance between different aspects and different components of a living being. It is homeostasis or equilibrium. Or sometimes in positive psychology, as Aristotle said, this is called eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is the sense of balancing between the different aspects and different elements of team members. Because of that, we say always coordination with other teams occurs in a balancing procedure and process. Without creating balance, we cannot achieve anything in coordination with other teams. And we talked that no mandatory necessary to other and outside of team leadership, but we need some internal leadership based on facilitation. Uh, Please note that when we are talking about the leadership in a participated team or delegated team, we are talking about the leadership at two levels, at two stages. At the stage of organizing and creating a team, and at the stage of leading a team, leading a pre-organized or leading a shaped team, not in the process of shaping. After shaping, it will be developed team, this shaped team, and organized team. In that level, leadership is not about the predicting and preventing. It is about the facilitating the currency of information between different team members and guiding some parts the total aspects and total activity of team for the shared final goals that we have preset for the team. Okay. We said that when we are talking about this aspect of leadership in a self-managed team, honestly, we are talking about the self-leadership in a team. What are the self-leadership elements of the self-leadership? What does it mean, self-leadership? Is leadership a concept outside of a living being to lead and guide himself, herself, or itself? Is it a team? It is itself. When we are talking leadership outside of a self-managed team, we are talking that yes, it is not necessary. It is mandatory necessity for a self-managed team to have an outside and out of the team leadership position or leader. We only need some internal leadership, not as a leadership, as a facilitating process. Okay. So the team will become self-leadership. We will have self-leadership. What are the elements of self-leadership? At first, it is about positive and motivating thought patterns. How can you have in yourself, in your team, in your organization, in your family, in your society, in your world, self-leadership? If you consider total world, Earth, all population as a one unit of living being, Earth, with its population, with the human beings, all of them together create a unit of living beings, so-called Earth, planet of Earth. And you want to have self-leadership in a total entity, so-called Earth planet. The Earth planet should have positive and motivating thought patterns. What is the difference between pattern and thoughts, for example? Let's say you should have motivating thoughts, and we say you should have motivating thought patterns. Patterns are not itemic. Patterns are the models, are the processes for thinking, not the itemic thought for this item, for that item. It is a pattern. It is a model. It's a processing. Positive and motivating. What does it mean positive? When it is positive about the being, about the possibilities, about the probabilities, about the going forward, about the winning, about the collaboration, about the sometimes compromise. It's about the positive. Positive, it is not about the losing. It is not about the accommodation. It is about the adaptation, not accommodation. It is not about avoidance. It is about approach. And it is also sometimes it is not about competition. It is about collaboration. Competition has two final results: winner or loser in competition. It's like judgment. Judgment has two final results: good or bad, wrong or right. But in collaboration and sometimes in compromise, We don't have any good or bad. We don't have any winner or loser. We have collaboration, efficient or inefficient. So positivism means about being, about having, about going forward, about life. Why? Because life as a vital consideration is about being, not about not being. When you are talking about not being, you are not talking about life. Life is about being, about future, not about the past. Why? Because present is the most important element of being, and future is the most possible element of being. Past is not the possibility of being. Past has passed. And past is not the possibility of being. Yes, it's the possibility of history. I know. But when you are talking about the positive, the first time is just now. Here and now is the most certain possibility of being. It is not possibility, it is being. And probability and possibility for the next beings is about future. Because of that, the first element of self-leadership is positive and motivating thought patterns. Personal goal setting leadership is about goal setting. When you are talking about the self leadership, you are talking about the personal goal setting. If you don't have any personal goal setting, when you are talking personal, it doesn't mean that you should be selfish or egocentric. Personal leadership or personal goal setting or personal goals are the goals that you are accountable and responsible for them. You should be accountable and responsible for them. Because of that, it is called personal goals. Your society, your family members, your parents, your spouse, your friends are not responsible. They can be facilitator, and sometimes they are prohibitor. They can stop your achievement, yes, but they are not responsible. They are not accountable. They are only facilitator and sometimes stopping your goals. When you are talking personal leadership or personal goal setting, it is about the values of goals, the standards of goals, the accountability of goals, the time management of goals, the achievement of your goals. Everything which can be called the goal setting process is related to you. You are accountable and you are responsible for your goals when you have personal goals. If it is not personal, okay, it is not called self-leadership. So for the second part, after positive thinking, after motivating thought process, at the second part, you should have personal goal setting. Observational self-evaluation. Every part, every aspect, every type of leadership needs feedback. Why? The sign of intelligence is feedback. The major difference between smart people and stupid people is about feedback. Both of them working something mistakes, yes. Both of them have some a lot of uh, have a lot of mistakes, yes. Why not? Because we are human beings. Mistake is a part of our life. Our life is our mistake club. Okay. Because of that, you cannot think that I am a mistake-free person. I want to be a mistake-free person. When you are mistake-free, or you have really dead, or in a lot of times you are mentally dead. Why? Because living is about doing, acting, mistaking, feedbacking, and correcting. Yes, mistake is the sign for correction. If you don't have any mistake, you don't have do any. You are not doing anything right. Why? Because you are not doing anything. One part is something wrong. One part is something right. From mistakes, from wrong to be wrong, we can find yes, I should be right. It is called feedback. The tools for feedback is observation, evaluation, measurement. Self reinforcement, such a good and such a hard position when you feel alone, that nobody wants or nobody is able to reinforce you, to reward you. You are alone. Why? Because you are a self leader. No external leadership, yes, it is good. It may be very independent, yes, but in your own private life, you are alone. So self reinforcement is one of the greatest part of leadership. So when you are using self leadership, your reinforcement should be self reinforcement, self control, and monitoring. Again, when you are a leader of the organization, a society, a family, you should monitor and control and say feedback and reinforce other people. When you are doing self leadership, you should do self control and self monitoring. Self control is not about stopping yourself. Self control, it is about these days in professional psychology, honestly, we don't use the word self control. We use self regulation. Self regulation is uh, fairly, very a harmonized word for our purpose of saying self control. It means that in our life, we want to regulate and harmonize different aspects of life: emotional aspects, rational aspects, social aspects, spiritual aspects, financial aspects. Now we are talking about cyber aspects of human being. Cyberspace is very important, has very important and very major role in our daily life. Creating harmonization between different aspects of life is called self-regulation. Also, the old-fashioned word is self-control and monitoring. The strategies for developing self-leadership. What can we do? At first, listen more, talk less. Why? Because you love the information about your job, because you want the information about the consequences of action. You want them. Listen more, talk less. You have one tongue and two ears. Ask questions rather than provide answers. The major, the crucial, the most crucial, the basic part of coaching is asking questions. Asking questions and feedbacks are the major parts of all types of coaching: life coaching, sport coaching, executive coaching, business coaching, sales coaching, spiritual coaching. All types of coaching are based on two parts. One, asking questions. Sometimes it is called asking power questions. And two, feedback. So coaching has no comment on you. I, as a psychotherapist, I have a lot of comment for you. Why? Because the knowledge of commenting other people, what they do and what they should not do. But as a coach, no comment. Only analyzing and finding and helping yourself find your best version, sometimes your better version. So asking question is the most important part for something so-called can I, constant and never-ending improvement. It is based on the asking power questions about constant and never-ending improvement. And share information rather than hoard it. Yes, share. It's a time of information. You can find everything in Google. Do goals in Google. It's the motto. Do goals, find how to do goal in Google. So it is not a time of hoarding information, whatever information. Top secret information is not in your hand. Yes, other information also is not only in your hand. So sharing information is the one of the funniest things in our professional life we can do, about the gathering new information and have a game of information between us, between family members, between social members, team members, and about self-leadership. If you feel alone in your self-leadership, you are not a modern human being. You are still living in your cave. and in your ancient cave. So it is so dark and cold to live in an ancient cave. You are living in a modern society, modern world. It is not about only America, North America. The world is not only North America. Other countries, other parts of the world are people and smart people. Also, everybody knows it. So when you are talking about the living in a cold and dark cave, it is the dark cave of information, dark cave of ignorance of other people, other importance of other people, and importance of other information. So open your eyes and open your heart to taking and giving the information, emotions, knowledge, rationality, and other parts to have the best procedure for self leadership, and let your next version sometimes be your best version, but I think it is good to say sometimes it will be your better version. So let your next version be your better version. Because of that, you need a lot of energy, a lot of interaction with other people, especially at the aspect of information transition. Encourage independent thinking rather than compliant followership. Uh-oh, you cannot be follower and leader at the same time. Make a decision about it. You are commander or commanded, as Nietzsche says. You can be commander or you are mandatory commanded. You are follower or leader. It is not a balanced and organized situation to be at the same page at the same time, simultaneously with follower and leader. As a self leader, I am talking to. As an organization leader, yes. In some aspects, we are follower. In some aspects, we are leader. But as self leader, make a decision. What's your idea? Encourage independent thinking rather than compliant followership, and encourage creativity rather than conformity. Highly recommended to read the book so called Originals. It is about the importance of non-conformative people in the world, not conformative people. Originals is a good book about the non-conformative people in the world, not conformative people. This is very interesting. And it is very observable in the real world that non-conformative people, conformative people are also creating the new situation in the world. For example, I think also Elon Musk is of these types of people, originals. They are authentic. They are own self. They are genuine, and I love them. And new roles for team leaders. For team leaders, we have different parts. Help team define goals and tasks. Team leaders are goal setters. Assess team skills. Are the team at the good level of at the proper level of skills? Obtain training for a team. It's very good. Help manage conflict and relationships. We talk about it in conflict resolution parts, that we have five roles of conflict resolution: avoidance, competition, accommodation, and collaboration and compromise. We have five different situations in working together for solving and resolving the conflict, and have some negotiation process for gaining a good situation in our conflictual situation. And observe from a distance, yes. um, when you are a leader, it's like painting. Painters always need some people to look at their master art from a far distance. Why? Because the new one, the new observer, has the fresh eyes to see the harmonization in a masterpiece, art masterpiece. So painters use other ordinary people, not professional leader. So gentlemen, please look at our art painting, and they said, well, what should I look at? What should I observe? They say about your feeling. Is there anything in this, for example, art painting, that it is not very harmonized together? They don't need your professional views. They have their own professional. They need your observation from a distance. Observation from a distance is a very good observation, to see and to observe something as a whole, as a total, as an overall, not as the details. The painters knows about the details, but the far distance and distance observer look at the painter, look at the art masterpiece as a whole, as a total uh, phenomenon. And after that, say, yes, I feel some, I feel good. No, uh, I am feeling some disturbance in my emotions. I feel anxiety when I'm looking your masterpiece. No, I feel happy. I feel about the death, no, about the future, no, about the romance and the love relationship and other parts. So one of the greatest and major professional roles of leaders, team leaders, is look at the team as an observer, not as a leader from a distance, and counsel and encourage team members. Motivation, inspiration is one of the major external roles of every leader, every coach. We are inspirator for other people. Such a coach you are that you cannot inspire other people in your coaching field. For example, sport coaches, yes, encourage players to do everything in their play. I, as a life coach or executive coach, a business coach, a sales coach, and even in spiritual coaching, one of the also external. It is observable. It is not internal, but the force is internal. Motivation is the force of internal. You should do something like it as a team leader and continue to make individual contribution. Yes, again, contribution again, delegation again. Help team clarify boundaries. It is very important. When you think that your team is limitless, you are bringing your team to the end of the hell, to the lowest part of the hell. You are destroying your team. Yes, we want and we desire to have an endless team without no limit. But it's a fantasy. In real time, in real place, and for real people, yes, we have some boundary. We can expand our boundary. Yes, why not? We can expand our limitation. Yes, but finally we have a boundary. So narrow one boundary or no, very, very, very expanded boundary. So knowing the boundary is very important because after going out of the boundary, you are going out of the team, and the team is going out of the organization. The team is going out an integral and integrated construction as so-called team. Help team develop implementation plan. It is very important that finally a team know what is the implementation plan, where are we achieving our goals, where and when we are winner. Typical dysfunctions in teams are groupthink, free riders, free riders in the sport teams are very, very catastrophic. Negativity of bad apples, only concentration of negative aspects of doing. Some team members are always nagging about everything. Some team members are always nagging about everything. They are not team members, they are team destroyers. They are team burners, not team builders. They are destroying every hope, every perspective, every energy, every desire, every motivation in their team. And lack of cooperation and trust. We talked about it that uh, the cooperation and trust is the first part of delegation in a team. And group team and the symptoms of groupthink and consequences, poor decision making, poor information gathering, selective information processing, development of few alternatives, failure of consider real risk fully, and failure to re-evaluation decision and alternatives, and failure to develop contingency plan. Contingency is a very popular and frequent word in all aspects of leadership, especially leadership, not management, especially leadership. Because of the, we have talked about it a lot of time about the future orientation of leaders and the strategic thinking of leaders. And when we are talking about future, about the strategy, about go forward, about the next step, We are talking about contingency, about the future. And for this type of contingency, you should have contingency plan. Okay, from now you have 15 minutes to take your Big Six quiz, and uh, the question based upon the PowerPoints. And please don't postpone your weekly assignments, especially LEs, learning engagement, because the due time is good time for gaining the best grades, best points. I'm so worrying about your points because postponing for grading for engagement will end to some reduction based upon the late work policy. It will reduce your final grade. And I'm worrying. You should also be worried, not me. But as an instructor, I am worrying about the final grade. Please do your assignments, especially LEs and quiz, on the due date. There is no cutoff date for the quiz, only due date. But for the learning engagement, for the case study, there are some cutoff date. And do it at the same time, because it is engaging. It is not about grading only. It is about engaging. You know other people views, you know my, and I know your views, and engaging together during a one single week to talk and think about and braining. It is not about grading. It is not about a certification only. You have a bachelor degree, for example, in business and manager. Your mindset should be a managerial or leadership mindset. Except of that, you're wasting your time. Don't forget it. Your mindset should be a managerial or management or leadership mindset. Because of that, engagement is very more important. And honestly, you should be engaged with your learning objectives, not only answering and peer replies and initial analytical. I am it's very, very important for me that your initial post should be initial analytical post, not only copy and paste from internet or your from course and course book and textbook to answering. I don't like it because it is not useful. It doesn't worse. It is not worthful, and it's not good for you. You will not gain anything with this procedure of engagement. So please engage with the topics 3 times, 4 times, 7 times a week. Every day, go to your learning engagement. That's it. Oh, so what a professor said, what other peer group said, and yes, what is the engagement? What's the question? What's the answer? And creativity and studying and talking. Leave a vital course, not leave a course only. Take a course and have some grading. Thanks for spending your time for me, and I'm here in this week for the engagement. I'm waiting. I will be so happy to hear from you in the context of learning engagement and other parts. So I will answer your question by email as soon as possible. Feel free to connect to me in the internet and also in the email and everything else. Have a good time.